I'm Chloe Wilson. I'm a media student at the Billericay School, and this question is related to my opening sequence Unknown, which is an action thriller genre and is Certificate 15. What technology was used in research and planning? The technology used when research and planning for Unknown included using the internet in order to gather information that could be collated into documents that represented themes and different ideas that were proposed for the opening sequence. As a way of planning my opening sequence, I created a pitch using PowerPoint, which was then shown to the class, helping me to gain more information and constructive criticism that could then be used in the planning of the opening sequence for Unknown. YouTube and Vimeo were also hugely credited when researching and planning for the opening sequence due to the fact that we were able to access previous opening sequences and also opening sequences of films. This therefore developed ideas further and could have led to some unidentified intertextuality within the opening sequence of Unknown. The analysing of previous opening sequences within coursework allowed us to use DVDs, which is another technology, although through preparation for the exam about the film industry we have realised that DVDs aren't as popular as they used to be with modern audiences due to new technologies such as Curzon on Demand. Other types of technology used were also in the way all coursework completed was uploaded to Tumblr. Using this method made it easy to access all files in one area, and the benefit of it was that work could be accessed on any computer or device as long as it had internet access. This then meant that I was able to add contents to my Tumblr when using an iPhone or iPad. The only problem that occurred from this was formatting code showed when trying to edit text posts on Tumblr on some Apple devices other than the Macs.
Hi, I'm Sam Reynolds, and this is part of an evaluation question for my opening sequence to my film Unknown. It is a thriller genre and is the Certificate 15. The technologies I learnt about in my opening sequence when coming to put the film together and edit it was an editing program called Final Cut. I use this as a software which is easy to use after a small amount of practice, but also when editing it come out to a professional-like standard. An example of why Final Cut was helpful is cross-cutting from different scenes in the opening scene. An example of this is shown here when the scene flows into the next, of Sam on the computer, then moving on to Chloe walking through the high street on the way. When using this, it shows that now with technology such as Final Cut that just about anyone can put a film together as you buy this software on a shelf in shops. A real life film example would be the film Monsters. Director Gareth Edwards made the film at his home computer using software which I have used, but in this case of Monsters it had a much larger budget to make the film into the cinema. Yet when looking at the technologies my film was made with and what Monsters was made with, it is very similar. LiveType is another software which I use when constructing my opening sequence. This is used to create an opening credits and titles for my film. It is a very easy software to use, but what is produced by using this software are high quality titles which would be used for my film. When looking for what software to use to create my title and credits, I found this to be the best and efficient software to use. Also relating to Final Cut with these technologies which can be used by anyone and accessed by anyone, it shows you just how easy it is to obtain the software needed to construct a film. I also use Photoshop to create a film poster for my film. I did this in the hope of showing just how I would use this in marketing strategy. I used this as I had used this before and had much experience in using this, so it was the best possible way to get a high class film poster for my scene.
I'm Sam, and I will be talking about technology that we used within our opening sequence. We used a range of technology. The first was the camera that we used was a Nikon D3200. From using this type of camera, which is a DSLR, which is basically translates as a digital single lens reflex. These are types of digital cameras that combine parts of a single lens reflex camera, SLR, and a digital camera, back, replacing the photographic film, which also is an example of technological convergence. As this camera has also a full capability to film, I use this in my advantage as a digital SLR using a wide range of different interchangeable lenses to capture more light. This also means that these are higher in clarity than normal camera recorders which have fixed lenses. Also, because of the interchangeability, you can use shots with a different variety of angles. as in ours we use a Sigma super wide angle lens to capture the whole shot. It also gives us the advantage in editing of cropping the image after, and in post-production it also allows more light to enter the lens, resulting in a higher clarity HD image. We also used a Nikon 18 to 50mm lens for a range from wide to close-up images. We use this lens in filming all the close-ups within the opening sequence. The lighting that we used within our opening sequence was all natural, as we picked a day and time where the sun was right for filming. As without sun on the day, it would dramatically change the way in which the film felt and looked. Like also, if the weather was bad, there would be maybe less people out shopping, so the time-lapse footage would have been less effective than hoped. The sound within our opening sequence was recorded on my camera, which has built-in stereo microphone that recorded all the sound within the opening sequence, and the speech within the opening sequence as well. Maybe to improve on the sound quality of the speech outside when Chloe is talking about maybe an external microphone could have been used to improve the sound when edited. But as within the editing I could manipulate the sound so the background noise was greatly decreased, so that her voice was heard much clearer than the sound being changed. We used iMovie and Final Cut to edit our opening sequence, as we could easily upload the final piece to Tumblr. But not only this, as there's a lot to learn from in terms of editing and sound when manipulating the actual video. As before we didn't know how effectively change the audio on a video, but now it's proven through my opening sequence. We played the whole soundtrack through, also changed the loudness of the music in the scene, where the sound from the voice or his voice is needed to have precedence over the music, so you could hear them well, but also within the underlying music of the track still heard in the background. Also, there was the ability to speed up the footage to 2000%, so that we could create an effective time-lapse scene, as any slower would have been less effective and appealing. This is an example of technological convergence again, with the use of both Final Cut and iMovie.